Good morning, New Life. My name's Albert Weinmiller. I grew up in Boston, Massachusetts, and I'm here today to share with you my relationship with Jesus and what brought me here. I've been married 27 years with 4 kids. I didn't grow up with God at all. Didn't have any sort of playbook there. When I was growing up, I found every excuse to throw God under the bus if I could. I was defiant, I had a chip on my shoulder. And at 14, I began to drink, and that's when the darkness really started to envelop me. After years of drinking, through my teenage and college years, I married. The drinking continued, and I was just a self-centered, cynical, bad guy. I was a bad guy. In my late 40s, I got really sick. I got ulcerative colitis, and this process was pretty rough because my family had endured me already, and now they had to endure me further with this disease. While I was in the hospital, I knew this was the end. I knew death was upon me. It was absolutely vivid. And the nurse administrator and the surgeon and I had a conversation, and this was right in the start of COVID, so the hospitals were under stress, and they were really looking just to triage me. They said I had a less than 5% chance to live. So here I was, endured a life of cynicism and pain, and now I was sick and dying. The next 3 days, while I was waiting for the surgery, one of the chaplains came to my room to try to pray for me, and I told him no and told him to leave. On Thursday, the afternoon before my surgery, my nurse came in and she said, "We've been praying for you." And I said, "Don't pray for me. I don't believe in God." And then she came over and she put her face over my face and she put her hand on my forehead and she said, "Well, he believes in you." And then she turned around and walked out of the room. And then an incredible, glorious rush came over me. The nurse had opened the door for me to suddenly have a relationship with God that I was so defiant against my whole life. I just said, if somehow, some way I make it out of this, I am going to be good. I'm going to be better. When the surgery was over and I came back to life, I could not stop thinking about God. And it wasn't until a good friend of mine asked me to do a workbook with him called Experiencing God, realizing that I had to surrender everything in my being and be a servant to God in order to find the happiness and peace that God wanted me to have. During that process, never ever did I forget about an old friend, Troy Campbell, a guy that I met over 25 years ago, a guy that when you saw him, the light just shined right out of him. I called Troy and told him that I had given my life to God, and I asked him if he would baptize me. And then in February of 2023, he did so here in the church with, I don't know, there was 12 of us, I think. We all got into the galvanized bathtub. It was great. So I'm here today so that you understand, maybe if you're in that position of darkness, that maybe you could allow yourself to be more vulnerable and open yourself to a relationship with God. I look forward to continuing to share my story and to listen to other people's story and to build on the journey and the relationship with God. And I know New Life is the place to do it.